Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Simon's Trading Channel. My name's Simon. I do a daily Bitcoin price action analysis. I hope you're all well on this rather sunny day we're having here in the UK, and that you're going to have a pleasurable weekend. Before I get straight into it, this would be a quickish video today. But before I get straight into it, I just want to remind you that I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't presume this is financial advice. All right, so I'm going to do two extremes on timeframes today, a weekly and then a 15-minute, and it'll become clear why in a second. So here's the weekly right in front of your eyes, and I've put on two boxes of randomness, which at the moment are meaningless, but they're kind of if I could forecast Bitcoin's price, which I can't, neither can anyone else, this is where I put the boxes. The reason that this one's here is because I'm desperate for a pullback because I really want to short. Um, but that's probably more of a pie in the sky at the moment, whereas this one I think is far more likely. And all that does is based on what should be a very bullish weekly close that is happening in 1 day and 10 hours on Bybit. It's already happened on CME. What should be after a bullish weekly close, potentially some follow through. And what would you have as a target for the follow through? Well, I've got my box here somewhere between 56 and 51. It's quite a big range, and it's basically based on this historic price action and the levels of support resistance that we've seen historically. So the timing will probably be completely out, but I'm hoping that the price might be pretty reasonable, um, uh, as what it basically is an educated guess. Having hopefully made the upper end of that rather than the lower end, if you look at my previous video, I talked about the potential for some weekly regular bearish divergence occurring on the RSI, depending on what happens in the next few weeks. If that does come to fruition, I would truly love to have Bitcoin come back to, this is quite a big box, somewhere between 30,000 and 37,000. And that again is effectively looking at the support resistance lines historically or areas, and trying to take a wild stab in the dark as to where it might pull back to. That would look nice for a pullback, a macro pullback. And it's around the summer, which is why I put it there. For example, this low was in the summer, not so much that one, not so much that one. This kind of low region was in the summer. So yeah, we'll see, but that's why I put it there. Anyway, getting to probably the more interesting stuff. And the reason I'm going to zoom down to the 15-minute is that clearly Bitcoin did a rather beautiful move up, starting really from Wednesday with a range break, which I talked about, and looks like most of it for now is done as of last night, really. So a nice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday straight up, more or less. Now, how I look at this kind of price action, you have to look to the lower time frame. So hourly, 15-minute, it's showing up nicest on the 15-minute at the moment. Because if you just look at a daily candle, you can't, there's not much to say about that other than it's just been straight up. So then I tend to zoom into lower time frames to then think to myself, if it does pull back from here, it might not. It might just continue with a slight sideways and down. But if it did pull back in a more meaningful way, where is it likely to come back to? And I can see a few. Lines or areas. It's achieved the first one anyway, which was around these wick lows here with the candle closures around 46.9. So let's just call it 47. It's already retested that area. Now, if you look at you could see the change in behavior. I don't know if that's the right word, but you could see quite clearly see the change in character from, that's not a completely accurate line, but from this sequence of high highs, high lows to what now looks like a low, a high, a lower low, probably, and this could turn out to change, but probably a lower high compared to this one. And that, you would think maybe has got some more downside to it. If it did start to close below 46,850, call it. Remember, this is on a 15-minute time frame. I think a reasonable area to then look at would be somewhere between 46.3 and 46.5, just around this kind of area, which this price action here. It doesn't mean it's going to get there, but that would be a reasonable, logical target to have if it does close below this low. And if it starts to close above this high on the 15-minute time frame, and definitely back above sort of 47.6. If you're getting hourly or 4-hourly closures above 47.6, well, it's probably into Monday anyway, and that's when the proper trading starts. So then you'd look for more upside. But until then, we'll see what happens. To be honest, I'd like it to pull back a bit more, but that's just me. Bitcoin will do what it wants to, and it always does something a little bit different to what you expect. A lower target beyond there, so if it starts to close beyond these regions, which was sort of lower end of 46, then probably worst case scenario would be 45.5. And the reason I say that is that would pretty much be a 50% give or take retracement of this leg up. Not that I'm a Fibonacci expert by any stretch of imagination, but if you start to get higher time frames closing below, that sort of 45 region, then might look like an up and down move. But that's way ahead of us at the moment, way ahead of us. I'd be looking for a bit more of a pullback over the weekend. I'd like to see it retrace to somewhere in the low 46s. That would be great, particularly as I'm short at the moment, but don't tell anyone. And then into next week, probably more upside. Whether it happens as quickly as it did this week, who knows? But yeah, the overall picture for Bitcoin remains bullish and looks like it will do for some time. All right, I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to leave you alone. You enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch you tomorrow, which will be Sunday.